change the microphone placement a little bit to see if it's going to help out. I think this needs to be tilted up a little more. It's a nice day out. Figured take the bike to work, talk about it a little bit, and see what's up. Figured maybe we'll do a little update overall on you know, after a few gas tanks, after a few hundred miles on the bike, since I put the tune and the exhaust, plans for the future, things like that. But before all of that, here's let me get my cheeks puffed up. This helmet is still, the cheek pads are still a little tight, which is great. I love that. It feels secure, but it makes me speak funny. So here's a subject that I wanted to bring up in the MotoVlog. Bias and remorse. This applies to not just this bike, but any bike that you might get. A lot of times after a big purchase, like a motorcycle, you can, you've spent so much time shopping, you've looked at so many different options, and you get yourself in situations where it's like, oh yeah, in this particular situation I would have been better off with this or that bike or that bike. Like, it was snowing and I was like, yeah, if I would have gotten an adventure bike or a dual sport, it would have been fun. I could have had fun today, but I can't because I bought this frickin' cruise missile. You know, that's okay, that's legitimate. What I do to combat that, and this system that I've had for guitars, I've bought and sold so many guitars over the years, and you know, that's my business. That's not buying and selling them, but I'm a musician and a music teacher by trade. It's my day job. So of course I've bought and sold tons of guitars, a lot of them for the same amount of money as a nice motorcycle would have been. And I'm gonna switch the analogy from motorcycles because, you know, you probably are a motorcyclist if you watch this channel. Maybe you're contemplating your next bike. Maybe you don't. There's this thing in the music world called gas, gear acquisition syndrome. Is when you endlessly scroll online for either like parts and accessories for what you already have, or for a new instrument or a new pedal or new equipment, you know, new amplifier. So in the motorcycle world, gear acquisition syndrome can be anything from like looking for a new helmet, a new jacket, a new glove, new boots, even though the ones you have are fine. You know, always looking to upgrade, yeah, and making excuses for yourself. It's like, yeah, but this one has this feature, this one has that feature. You know, oh, that helmet is 0.3 of a gram lighter than the one I have, or carbon fiber, or I've switched to you know, used to have a orange bike and now I have a red one, so my gloves don't match, or with this or with that. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not trying to talk down to you. You know, this is all eye-level stuff. I suffer from the same thing too, but I have some things that help me, and I want to share them. As for motorcycles, always looking for your next bike, or I shoulda, coulda, like you spend all this money and you buy this bike that's very good at that, but not as good at something else. If you've had, let's say you had a budget of, I don't know, $6,000 for a motorcycle. Let's say that was your budget, or $7,000. I don't know. It doesn't even matter what the budget is, but the budget allows you to buy several different bikes and different kinds of bikes, different capacity. You can go with a higher end bike that's a little bit older, you know, with more miles on it, or smaller capacity bike that's practically new, and everything in between. Right, you have so many options. $7,000 can get you like a brand new KTM 390 or Ninja 400, or a 10-year-old bike like this, or a 15-year-old GS Adventure. You know, all valid choices. But let's say you had all of them lined up. Let's say you had, you know, your top 5 bikes line up in the garage at the same time. 9 times out of 10, would you choose one over the other to go, you know, if you commute to work, or if you're a weekend rider, or whatever it is that you do? If you're honest with yourself, 9 times out of 10 you're going with the one over the others. That's the bike you should have. When it comes down to accessories too, yeah, would I like the panniers for this bike? I'd love them. I'd love to have them. Do I need them? No. Would they be on the bike most of the time? No. They would be, you know, on the off occasion that I'm going to want to go on a trip, which I have small kids. It's not going to happen anytime soon, and the times that it would happen would be very few and far between. So yeah, I would love to have those original hard panniers for this bike. They look awesome, but I don't need them. Even the top case that I have in the back, I don't really need. I have a tail bag that would, you know, do what I want to do. But the reason I went with that is for the off case that my wife is on the back. That case I have can function as a backrest for her. So I pretty much got the smallest hard case that I could, that's detachable, so when I do go on the track, like on a track day or on the drag strip, I can take it off easily. I can lock my helmet in it, which is great. Yeah, that's the minimum I need. I'll be fine without it too, it's just for the off thing. So yeah, is it as pretty as the original thing? No, it's not. I might wrap it. I have some surprises in store. I have some stuff on order that's going to take a while to get. But don't want to talk about it just yet. But yeah, wrapping it would be a really cool option with vinyl. Maybe it'll make it a little bit prettier. But for me right now, that's a function thing. Like I bought it because I can lock stuff, I can get the odd little little things from the grocery store every now and again. And most importantly, when I do, when I do ride with my wife on the back, I'm not as scared of her like slipping backwards, falling off, because I know she has this thing behind her, this backrest. I don't like slowing down with the gears, but this turn, traction here is so weird, because one day it would be nice like today. Other days there's gonna be patches of like somebody passed here with a truck full of mud or gravel, and so I always ride at like 50% yeah, on the road. I'm not stressing myself out, not trying to get crazy lean angles or impress you guys on camera, because I'd rather just get to work safe and sound. And honestly, with this bike, that's also fun. I don't have to stress this bike to be having fun on it. That's something that I really love about it. Now, when I was shopping, when I was shopping originally for Super Blackbird, was also looking at some CBR 954s, because I really like them and I think they're a future classic. I came across a brand new KTM, what is it, SMT or SMC Touring or whatever it is they call it. They basically took the KTM 990 Supermoto, or was that a 1000 something Supermoto, and put some tiny little saddle luggage on it and call it a touring bike. That thing is ridiculous. It's a hooligan bike, wheelie machine. If you can take the Duke, the big Super Duke, and make it more of a hooligan bike, that would be that SMT or whatever it is that they called it. I saw a leftover from I don't remember what year it was, but I remember it was a few years old, but a 0-mile bike, like new old stock leftover. So of course it's pristine. They wanted $7,000 or $7,500 for it in South Carolina at a dealership. It's a dealership bike. That means I walk in there and it's like, yeah, are these the original tires? I want new tires out the door. I want you to do a nice like, it never had oil in it. I want a new battery. I want you to prep the bike for me, and for them it's no big deal. They can do that. And you know what? If I was in my 20s, it would get me in trouble, but it would still be like a freaking, I would have so much fun on that bike. I'd probably get in a lot of trouble on it too. But I'm not in my 20s. I have a year and a half before I'm 40. My back isn't the same as it used to be. No, that bike, it's basically a giant supermoto, so you sit on it upright, but it's just, here's the thing about those high performance machines like Super Duke and Ducati, whereas the Street Fighter V4, which I love. I've been looking at the Aprilia V4 as well. The Aprilia, not the Super Sport, but the Tuono V4. Beautiful machines. Love the sound, love the power, love the lightness of them. And the Tuono is a little bit better about this than the other ones, but the KTMs are bad with this. So what they love going fast, love braking hard. They don't love doing this. What I'm doing right now, the VFR is completely comfortable in its element, right? When you're having a race, you're either accelerating hard as you can, or you're braking as hard as you can. There's very little maintenance throttle, right? You're either accelerating hard, you're braking hard. Otherwise, you're wasting time. If you're doing this maintenance throttle cruising thing, why? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing on the track? And super sport bikes are obviously like that, but some of those really high power super nakeds and I don't know what to call some of the other ones, those hyper supermotos that they make, those big V-twin supermotos that Ducati is making and made for a while, the hyper motard, right, and the super Duke. As much as I love them, when I'm in the mood for just to friggin' be an asshole on the road, that's not what I'm doing, right? So the VFR is completely freaking comfortable and happy, as happy doing this as it is when I push it. If anything, when I push it, it comes up short of those bikes. It's harder to be on the edge of this bike. It's a lot like the Hayabusa and the ZX14. It's really hard to take those bikes up to the edge because of the weight and the length, and you know, but they're so comfortable doing everything else. And when you want to just cover grounds fast, and you know, you want to just bring like what's that term the kids say, that you eat yourself into the sun, right? You could, and it's easy to do that. You don't even have to drop a gear. You just twist the throttle and all of a sudden you're in somewhere else. I'm almost at another 100 miles since I put gas in it last time. And yeah, maybe I'll pull over on the way to work and fill it up at some point and see my miles per gallon. I'd rather be closer to work than farther away. Been driving it a lot calmer since that run. You know, the last couple of tanks I've been averaging about 34 miles per gallon, which is not good at all. But I wasn't even trying to get good gas mileage. I was riding it pretty hard. So now cruising normally like this, just, you know, regular commuting, same pace as a car, it should get a lot better gas mileage. If I had 6th gear, I could take it, you know, just take the highway, cruise at 3,000-4,000 RPM all day. But even now, it has the torque. I can put it in 5th right now, doing 35-40 miles an hour, and it would chug along just fine. It's just, I like having the power available. I don't know, it's just my this is just the way I ride. I like to be in the correct gear, even though I can get away with 1 or 2 up. This bike has the torque. So we'll see. I'll give it a few more miles and then see what's going on. There's something funny about the fuel gauge, which, like, I really love the fact that it has a fuel gauge. This is a problem not just with this bike, but with every bike I've had with a fuel gauge, you know, including the 2010 Z1000. It stays full for the first like 20, 30, even 40 miles. The fuel gauge does not change. It's like I've filled up to the top of the fuel gauge and then filled another couple gallons on top of that. So for a while you ride along and the fuel gauge doesn't change at all. And it's like, oh cool, you know, I'm getting a lot of, like, a really good gas mileage, right? No, you're getting the same gas mileage, just the way the tank is built, it's narrower on the bottom, kind of like a upside down teardrop. Well, yeah, upside down teardrop type of thing. So right now I have 101, almost 102 miles on this tank, right? And I'm a little below halfway on the meter, but I really only have 20 miles, maybe 30 miles left on this tank. So I am not what is it, I don't know, 3 out of how many bars, but I'm not nowhere near halfway on this tank. This is not a 200 mile tank. It's not a 150 mile tank. Maybe if I really baby it, I can get 150. So it's like the fuel gauge is, it's not just this bike, it's just nothing, like you're full, and all of a sudden it just starts dropping, and it drops exponentially faster the lower you get on gas. So I don't know, Honda, or, you know, everybody, motorcycle companies in general, like, this is balls in your court. Like, we know about this, we notice it, it's annoying. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's annoyed by it. So yeah, balls in your court. Speaking about gas mileage, let's get a couple up. Here's 4th, here's 5th. Now, in case you wondered, the whole idea with 6th gear, I don't like to do this, I'm not going to do it much, but I can put it in 6th, I don't know if you can see my dash, I can put it in 6th gear and I can cruise in 6th gear, and it works just fine. But if I try to give it some gas, I can slip out of the gear. So see, I'm cruising in 6th and I'm fine. But if now I'm gonna give it gas, which I'm not gonna, it's gonna slip out. The reason I'm not gonna is because I don't want to wear out whatever sprockets, you know, the actual transmission. Don't want to wear it out anymore, because when I heard that friction the first time, I was like, oh, that's not good. And then I did it on purpose one more time to make sure it only happens in 6th. And since then, I'm just, it's a 5-speed bike. So for the foreseeable future, right now it has, what, I have about 26,000 miles on it. When I get to 50, if I keep this bike for another 25,000 miles, like when it gets to 50,000 miles, I'm thinking about dropping the motor and doing a whole overhaul. So like rebuilding the transmission and just cleaning everything, new spark plugs, new whatever, you know, check the valves and everything. The valves should be checked every 16,000 miles. So I should do it at 34,000 valve check. I don't know if the old owner ever did at 16,000. the motors that have gone 100,000 miles and more without ever checking the valve clearances. But please don't take that as a recommendation of me telling you that you don't have to check it. You know, of course, always follow the manual. A lot of traffic today. It's a good thing I left early. And again, like I was saying, like check this out, this below 3,000 RPM, or I'm cruising at 3,000, sometimes dropping below, sometimes over. Not a lot of inline fours can do that. You know, maybe the BMW S1000RR and the XR, but yeah, I can't afford that. And the BMWs, from what I can understand, are a little buzzy. Still, they got the weight right. They're super lightweight, both of them. I like that about them. One thing about the commute is that I don't feel nice about is I know I'm squaring these tires. Tires that are pretty expensive, and I'm not using them to the extent that they could be used. But you know what? These are sport touring tires. They're designed for this. Like, I could have made other choices. Like, I don't know if I could have made a better choice than these tires. If I had super sport tires, if I had the super sticky ones, they would have been boxy from, you know, a while ago. Mine are still nice and rounded, relatively.
Alright, Future Roy here. Just voiceovering in with final thoughts about gear acquisition syndrome and if you've bought the right bike or not. It's completely possible that you did buy the wrong bike, and it's possible that you haven't. Like, you're the only one that can answer that. But yeah, that's okay. The thing about just think about if you've thought with your head too much, or if you thought with your heart too much to make the choice that you have, if there is a better option, and think about it honestly. Like, have you made the right decision or not? I know I have. You know, there's some caveats, everything's a compromise, but yeah, think about it. You're the only one that can answer that for you. Just be honest with yourself. As for the gear acquisition syndrome, you're living in a world where everything is literally in our pocket. Like, we can go take our phone and shop for anything from everywhere, and it's overwhelming. Like, we have this consumerism culture is as strong as it has ever been. We even talk about about a product or anything. Just think about something that we might want, and we get ads for it immediately. Targeted ads. So think about, do you really need it? Is it really better? Or if you did save the money, if you can go without it and you have saved the money, would that money be better? Like, can that money serve you better? So in most cases, yeah, it would. Try to balance, you know, being alive and happy with being responsible. And I'm sure you know all of this, but I just wanted to share it from my perspective. I hope you enjoy this content, and I'll try to make some more videos. All the usual stuff of liking and subscribing and whatever. I'm not trying to sell you anything myself. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and stick around for the next ones. Have a good one. Bye.